Wednesday.
It just happens.
Look at these Blue Jays hats.
It should be our thing.
Wearing Blue Jays hats?
Yeah.
Well, we're good to go.
Are we good to go?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
That got really creepy.
I really hope it starts with that.
Oh, you know it.
Oh, God. Sorry, Dave almost just died in front of us. We almost had our first podcast death.
I'm surprised we lasted this long without one, actually.
Just kill someone live.
Oh.
Well, welcome to Scotch Boarding, episode 62.
Woo!
And I really hope we keep some of our dodgeball listeners or get some of our dodgeball listeners, even though we are not talking about dodgeball.
Not today.
Not today, sadly.
Not today. We do have a huge dodgeball event coming up this weekend. This Saturday is the National Championships of dodgeball, with multi-provinces coming to compete for the national title. You will get a medal. You will be crowned Canadian champion, and then from there, the selection committee is going to pick people to represent Canada.
Nice.
On a national scale, so it's quite exciting.
Sweet.
So there are dodgeball people, keep listening because of that.
Definitely keep listening. And for other sports, too.
And for other sports, like the NHL Playoffs, just because they're on my TV right now.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, I wanted to start with a sort of apology.
Okay, I like it. Let's have it. I love when I get apologies,
This
especially
is a
right
sort
off
of-
the bat.
This is a sort of apology. So I, obviously 2 podcasts ago, was talking about wearing a jersey
Yep.
on a non-game
Yep.
day.
Right.
Yep.
And the Sharks won.
They sure
Holy
did.
shit, did they ever?
They sure did. Man, okay, can we... Okay, no, I'm going to let you finish, and then we'll come
And then
back to that.
Then we can talk about that.
Yeah.
I said it wasn't okay to wear your jersey unless it was game day and you were going to the game.
Right.
It was the Saturday after the Sharks won.
Right.
I was driving up a street in Toronto, and there was a little kid skipping with his parents in a Pavelski jersey.
Oh, Pavelski jersey. Nice.
And I thought that was just so great.
Yeah.
And just the cutest thing I'd ever seen. So I want to apologize, because I think the caveat is...
If you're a kid...
You're 5?
No, I was going to even apologize even further. I think if, like, maybe your team wasn't expected to win and they won, or it was a huge deal, I think the next day you get amnesty.
Okay. Okay, so if I, in my house, watching the game, am I allowed to wear the jersey? I didn't get clarification on that.
Yes, you are in your house.
Okay.
Yeah, because I watch sports in my
If
house.
I'm at a friend's house, what if I'm at a bar? If I go to a bar to watch the game, can I wear my jersey?
Yes.
Okay. That's, okay. So, let's talk about Game 5.
Does Chris sound funny to anyone else?
He got a little deeper.
Oh, fuck. Okay, hang on.
You sound like you're having a very slow
You know how you inhale the helium and you get really high voice? It's whatever the opposite is that makes it nice and deep. That's
Right.
what you
Is this
like.
better?
That's
This
way
is
better.
better.
Okay,
You know how
yeah.
when-
My microphone does this where it'll... If you guys hear it, do that again. Because you guys mentioned it last time where I went really deep. Mention it, so because I just have to unplug it and plug it back in, and then it's fine. Something wrong with the...
Every girl impression of a guy is just this.
That's right.
But no guy actually talks like this.
But I actually was talking like that.
Like, Dave doesn't talk like this, but this is how I do Dave's voice. I am
Amazing.
Dave. You don't talk like this.
So,
He does when he scolds me, for people that didn't hear that.
boy.
So, yes, I think after a big win, playoffs only chirpy chirps in the background.
Okay.
Playoffs only, big win, like a series win, a title win, amnesty, jersey the next day, wherever you
see,
want.
for me, your team wins the Stanley Cup. You got carte blanche. You wear it all fucking summer.
No, the day. After the next... If you were wearing a hockey jersey in the summer, you look like a tool. That same day, driving up that same street...
What if you were wearing it to the parade?
Yes.
We discussed the parade.
Yeah, that's an exception. That is totally an exception. That same day,
but
before we saw the adorable kid, there was a grown man, like our age, not Chris, but like Tyler and I.
Oh, wow. Not elderly is what you're saying, right?
Walking down the street wearing a Morgan Riley jersey.
No, take it off.
Yeah.
Shorts and a Morgan Riley jersey.
Take it
cool,
off.
Man.
Take it off.
Go home.
So let's talk about Game 5.
Yeah,
let's talk about...
Over. I am sorry, Chris.
No, that's okay. Let's talk about the series in general. So, friend of the podcast, Jesse, is a Kings fan.
Yep.
And Jesse
has seen him show up to an event.
Yep.
Now, this was post-game, but he showed up to an event that had nothing to do with hockey.
Wearing a Kings jersey?
In his Kings jersey.
Right. So, Jesse messages me on Facebook. Posts on my wall on Facebook, so public for everybody to see. And this was before the series started. Should I apologize now or wait till after Game 5? To which I responded, no way, this series is going 7, and it could go either way. And so we get to Game 5.
Technically, both of you were wrong.
Right. So we get to Game 5, and the Sharks jump out to that 3-goal lead. And I'm like, yes, this, we're getting the monkey off the back. You know what I mean? Like, this is it. Marleau gets that penalty shot. Did you guys see that penalty shot?
No.
It was the weakest penalty shot attempt I've ever seen in my life. And had he scored that goal, it would have made it 4-0, and the game would have been over. I mean, it's still the second period, so not over, but over. Because 3-0's one thing, 4-0's something completely else.
4-0 is depressing for the other team, and that's when I'd check out.
So, he doesn't score the goal, and then they score 1, and then they score 2, and then they score 3. And it's 3-3 going into the third period, and I'm like, I've seen this before.
Yep.
So...
I've seen this movie.
Right, I've already seen this. So, being the good fan I am, I don't check out. I keep watching. And they score that first goal. And as soon as they scored that fourth goal, I'm like, okay, we've got this. Like, we're in it to win it. And Pavelski scores the fifth goal and then the empty netter. And we're going on to play fucking Anaheim because there's no way Smashville's coming back.
Well, currently, Nashville is up 2-0.
Oh, really?
2-0 now?
It is 2-0.
Whoa. All right, well.
Game.
Oh, 2-1.
Oh, 2-1. There you go.
Yeah. Anaheim scored with 20 seconds left in the period. Dave and I are in a player pool, as I've talked about, and we went balls out on Washington and Anaheim.
Ouch.
With a sprinkle. No. Hey. Shove it. With a sprinkle of Pittsburgh.
Right.
1 or 2 people, and the Dallas goalies.
Okay.
So we've been really good. We want to maintain our record, jinxie jinx jinx, of being the only team with their team intact in round 2.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's quite a rarity.
Yes, it is. It's just too bad that Washington's playing Pittsburgh.
I know. This makes me very... I always thought Pittsburgh would win, though, so I don't think my strategy would have changed. Right. But Pittsburgh actually winning is like, okay.
And winning pretty convincingly, too.
Well, both of them did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, I mean, Pittsburgh's got the guys that have been there and done that. Washington, kind of like the Sharks, But both now you have 2 very choky teams going up against each other. So what happens when 2 people both like to choke themselves?
It was on to win.
I believe there's a sexual thing you. I'm sorry.
No,
I'll see myself out.
I think it was implied.
Okay.
Both of you can't be into it at the same time. One of you has to be the chokey, and one of you has to be the choker.
That's how it works?
Right, yeah, because You need a spotter. You need a spotter.
You need a spotter.
I don't know. I don't think you could choke like Dave's
What's
saying, just
safe?
choke yourselves and look at each other in the eye. But no, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Like one of you's the belt and one of you's the guy. You can't.
Okay.
Anyways, we have two.
I could have made that joke worse, but I'm gonna leave it.
Were you gonna do Wade Beelar?
No, I was gonna say.
Hey, I'm gonna leave that then.
It was gonna be someone
That
else,
was
but
5 years ago. Not too soon. Michael Hutchins, the guy from NXS. David Carradine.
David Carradine. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Also the lead singer of NXS.
Yep.
I was like 12 when that happened, and I really liked them, and that was like a mommy.
What does autoerotic asphyxiation mean?
That's when my childhood ended. So speaking of shockers, any upsets? I guess the Islanders yesterday. I don't know if anyone saw the end of that game, but
So yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. Did you see the 2 missed tripping calls?
yeah, I did.
So that goal shouldn't have been scored.
Anaheim tied it up. Oh, Chicago? I care about that a little bit less.
But I mean,
Yeah.
two missed tripping calls. I mean, you could have called either one. You could have called both.
Yup.
So
You think that was the refs? But like you know, like in playoff hockey, at least it's
there's
kind of
the
like,
let them play mentality, but
like unless it's blatant.
it was blatant.
It was like, I'm taking my stick and tripping you.
And then to come down and score like right after, and hey, like I give it to Tavares for being like Johnny on the spot there,
Literally.
because he did a pretty good job like getting where the puck was gonna be.
Oh, that game-winning goal was
The game winner was awesome, but even the one to tie it,
the one time Luongo goes out to challenge.
yeah. I feel
I
bad.
was sad.
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for Luongo. I feel bad for Yager.
Yeah, Florida was the Cinderella team. I expected them to go a bit deeper. But then
Yeah.
I guess the Islanders kind of were too, because they haven't gotten past the first round
In 23 years.
in 23 years. So
It's crazy.
And guess who they were playing the last time they went?
I'm going to go with the Panthers.
No.
Damn it.
They were playing the Penguins and Mr. Jaromir Jagr.
Oh,
That's right.
poor buddy.
John
Yeah.
Tavares was 2.
Okay. So that was the only shocker for me. I mean, Washington was expected, Pittsburgh was expected, San Jose, the LA San Jose series.
Right. Could have went either way.
It was a coin flip, so it's like, oh, that's good.
My bracket is busted.
Yeah, Washington at 6 games was a shocker.
Yes, I thought that was
Peanut
going to be.
tripped. I thought Washington and I thought Dallas was going to be an absolute steamroll.
Yeah.
Like in my playoff pools that I've done, I said 5 games just because I was like, they might get a game,
Right.
thinking it could be a sweep. But both of them going to 6 was a surprise.
Yep.
I don't know.
I agree.
Andrew Shaw is the only kind of weird story that I wanted to touch on, because I could never be that mad to hurl something like that out in anger.
Right. What
like,
did he do? I
Well,
mean, it was
so
a
it was
homophobic
like-
slur?
Yeah, so it's kind of, you don't have to use your imagination to
Right.
figure out what he said.
There's only a couple.
And so, like, I'm sure we all say it,
Yep.
but never...
In
I know
public.
this is such a lame excuse, but never, like, as a derogatory... And then never in anger, you know?
Right.
Like, I just can't imagine being that pissed off
Yeah.
to just slur.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then he comes back and scores and is the hero of
Right.
the next game that he plays. So I don't know.
Crazy
I'm
stuff.
keeping an eye. So playoff to playoff,
Yep.
I want to go basketball.
All right.
We don't have Mark, so hopefully Dave can chirp from the background.
Yes, ma'am.
Steph Curry is out for 2 weeks.
Is that what
Wait.
it is? 2 weeks? I didn't see the...
2 weeks minimum.
That's what they're saying.
So I know we talked a
Grade
couple
1
podcasts ago.
MCL sprain.
Yeah, like it's an injury.
Yeah. Well, he slipped on.
Yeah.
Like, it was brutal.
Yeah.
That looked like it hurt.
But he was hurt before, right? And came back.
He sprained his ankle. He was out a couple games, came back, and slipped again. So
we talked 2 podcasts ago. Please go download them.
Yes.
How Golden State is its own breed of category, and then Steph Curry from that is his own breed of category. They still have a whole bunch of other pieces.
Well, yeah, he went out before halftime, and they put up 41 points in the third quarter.
Houston Rockets took a game. Are we reading it? Like, they lost what, like 2 games all season?
pretty much.
Crazy. Yeah, I think
this doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters.
And game 3, when he was out, they lost by a point.
Right.
Right? Like, and they won game 2 when he was out, but they lost by a point.
Yeah.
And then came back and crushed.
So they're fine.
They're fine.
And then
Absolutely.
Cleveland steamrolled the Pistons.
No surprise.
Now, my playoff question. The Raptors, my fact that I learned from watching the game on Sunday, we were 0-12. Were.
No.
I didn't say
Not
were.
not were.
The Raptors were. That was just my slur. That wasn't me saying
That's the
were.
booze talking.
Alright, I'm gonna take a sip.
You should.
Just cuz.
Any excuse. Oh, there's something in this. Ew.
Hope it's not paint.
Oh, I also hope it's not paint. Honey, call poison control.
Are you using lead-based paint by chance?
All lead.
Love
So the
life.
Raptors were 0-12
Yeah.
before Sunday's game in daytime playoff games.
Before the playoffs started, coach bitched that they did not get primetime spot.
Right. So
As the number 2 seed.
they lost
Yeah.
another game. So they lost Sunday's game. So they are now 0-13 in daytime playoff games. Are they screwed because they're the Canadian team and no one wants
Yes.
to watch them?
Oh no, that's absolutely what it is.
That's exactly why it is, yeah.
Nobody
So
cares
how-
about the Raptors.
I just can't think of other sports.
Baseball.
Mhm.
They did
But baseball does that in the regular season. Did they do that in the playoffs?
They did
Yeah, they did it to the Jays.
Yep. They put them all at noon.
Yeah, all the Jays games were in the afternoon. If you remember, they were all in the afternoon. In the not the division series. What's the other one? What the one before?
I
No.
had to call it.
It is the division
the
series.
divisional series
Yeah.
to go to the game at noon. I had to call in sick.
So how is that fair?
It's not like
That
it's not
TV
one of the-
schedule is affecting. It's clearly affecting the playoffs, and it's affecting the outcome of the games.
The same thing with Blue Jays.
Yeah, that's what we said.
I'm glad he's here.
You should get a microphone, honey.
at least a headset.
Yeah, you can come sit beside me. No, he says no. He
Oh.
just wants to insult us
Fair
Perfect.
enough.
from the background. So, yeah, I guess I blanked that from my memory. I thought the Blue Jays got a cut. All I remember is the bat flip, and I know I was still at work.
Yeah,
And it was dark.
and that's it. They
drunk.
were all afternoon games. I think
But I
maybe
guess
one
they
of
had,
them.
yeah, they had to make it to the second series for it to be.
Right, Champion Series. Then it was night games
Because there was friggin' 2. There was only
2 series
like,
left.
2
yeah.
series left. So
So what does it have to take? Like, obviously the Canadian teams will still stay unpopular, but if the Raptors' shitty daytime record continues, or if the Blue Jays fuck up, like, what does it have to take to get primetime for the Canadian teams like that?
I don't like, somebody who's not a cock doing the schedule.
Or it's
Yeah, but-
someone, Mark Bunn, someone figuring out why the Raptors lose in the day. And I don't know the Jays record when they played in the first round. Like, what was their record during the day games?
Right.
I know that marathon they lost.
Yeah.
And obviously they won that series, but like,
Yeah, well,
What is-
they in the ALDS, they played the first and second game. They were the first game of the day.
For both.
For both. And then when they went to Texas, for game 3, they were the second game of the day. So they were the last game, because there's only 2 games. Then they were the second game again, but they went back to being the first game when they came back to Toronto in game 5.
TV bias is clearly allowed to dictate schedule. Now, I guess what if the Jays or the Raptors are more relevant? What if the Raptors were playing, I don't know, Cleveland in the first round? Are they getting primetime because they're playing? Like, do they just have the misfortune of playing kind of lesser teams that also no one wants to see?
Yeah, okay, then why is Golden State getting all the primetime games?
Because people want to see Golden State.
Well, that's exactly my point. But they're going to crush the friggin' team that they're playing. So what the fuck?
But people want to see Golden State. People want to see Cleveland too. So I guess, like, do the Raptors have the misfortune of playing the Pistons? And who did they lose to last year? Watch it. Like, no one wants to see the Wizards.
Right.
And the Wizards swept them.
Yeah, so did they just have the misfortune of the Raptors always playing another team that no one wants to see? And same with the Jays and the first round playing the Rangers. Is it no one cares about Texas?
I think nobody cares to watch the Raptors or the Jays. If you go to the States, nobody gives a fuck.
Huh. Dave just said the game tomorrow, which he's going to. Mad jealous. I hate him and his dad.
Wow.
No, I love both of you. That game starts at 6.
Mm-hmm. Not 7 or...
Yeah, that's weird.
So yeah, well, like if the Jays make the playoffs again and they face the Yankees, are we going to suddenly see more?
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll see more prime time.
The Canadian teams just have the misfortune of playing also teams that no one really wants to see.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like, I mean, we got stuck playing Texas. Nobody cares about Texas. Nobody cares about Indiana, the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, no one cared about the Wizards. Maybe the Brooklyn Nets the year before.
Right, and because I don't think there were many afternoon games in that one. It's a long time ago, so I don't remember, but there must have been a couple. Because to be 0-13, there would have had to have been a few.
So how does TV bias affect a playoff schedule? Well, I guess it's all about the Benjamins, and this is a great segue to Roger Goodell.
Yeah, there was 2 games for the Raptors Brooklyn Nets in the afternoon.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So
and that went 7, right?
Game 1.
Yeah.
And game 7 were in the afternoon.
I remember driving back from somewhere. Yeah. And I was going to ask a question, but then Dave really quickly answered it for me, which was why does every series-based sport, every single round is best of 7 except baseball is best of 5? And Dave's answer was no one wants to play in November.
And basketball.
That's my Dave voice.
Basketball, the first round used to be game 5.
Used to be 5, yeah.
When did they change that?
I wouldn't want to say like 6 or 7 years ago.
Huh. I just thought hockey was always 7 because they wanted that to go as long as possible, and the fact that we're still playing hockey in June is ridiculous.
Yeah, but would you change it?
No, I like sports. I like you have exciting sports pretty much year round.
But and especially like with hockey,
it's March. Oh no, you have March Madness.
7 games of like crazy intensity. Like I love playoff hockey.
Oh yeah, you could not. My dad doesn't watch hockey; he'll watch playoff hockey.
Right, and I was trying to explain this to a guy at work that like there's the problem I have with football is that playoff football is the same as regular football. It's just if you lose, you go home. There's really no difference in the game. Like when you watch the game, it doesn't feel any different. It's just like watching another game. Whereas with hockey, and I mean that just points to that every football game is important. Every football game is a playoff game, even the regular season.
Yeah, like you play once a week.
Once a week, yeah.
Games. And I think that's the intensity of seasonal football, rather than the lack of.
Right, and I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for football because I love football the way it is. But
exactly, and it's like baseball though. Like the Blue Jays lose a couple of games in April. It
doesn't matter. Yeah.
There's 160 more of these.
That's right. So And like I tried to explain to him last year, like when the Jays made the playoffs, I'm like, dude, you need to watch. He's like, baseball's boring. I'm like, trust me, watch playoff baseball, and you won't think baseball's boring anymore. You'll understand the nuances. We're gonna bring in this pitcher because he's a righty, and the next guy up's a lefty. You know what I mean? Like there's all these game within the game things that happen in baseball.
So it's cut. Is it
are
cut
magnified.
The regular season? Yeah, cut the regular season of baseball a little bit, and then add those extra first round playoffs.
Or let more teams into the playoffs.
Yeah, but then you'd be cutting the season more. But 162 games, cut it to 140 and start the playoffs in beginning of September.
I'm with that. I'm all for. I'm for more teams in baseball making the playoffs. I think it's unfortunate that it's only the few teams that it is, because you don't get those Cinderella teams. Like you do, but not really. You know what I mean?
I think with baseball, with that, I do think it's very symptomatic of the salary cap. And aside from, it's kind of evening out now a little bit, but for those couple of years, probably 5 or 6 years ago, you could call who was going to be in the playoffs every year.
Right.
But I think baseball should do a divisional 1 through 15, 1 through 15. The first 7 make the playoffs.
Yep.
Like the Blue Jays sucked for a very long time. And in another division, I think there were a couple of years where if they were in the Central, they would have won their division.
Yeah.
But because they were in the East, they came in 3rd.
Right.
Yeah.
And that sucked.
Yep.
And that's gonna be what it's gonna be this year. Like the Jays, like the East is ridiculous this year.
It's always ridiculous.
Last year, they just got lucky when everyone was at a change year.
Yeah, everyone was taking a year off. And the Jays are like,
But
you know what?
years
We're going to
ago
go out and
when
get
Baltimore-
Price.
Like a couple of years ago when Baltimore also decided to get good and Tampa Bay decided to get good, it was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would have,
F all of you.
it was like 10 years ago or something, they would have won the Central and they would have maybe made it into the wild card, but it's...
Yeah, like, if only they were in the National League East.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, there was talk years ago, and that's where it stemmed from, of Detroit moving, I think, to the National League, or Detroit moving to the East, and then the Jays would move to Central. There was some weird thing of teams switching around.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway.
I know
but
that...
I guess football's the same with the least...
balanced divisions?
Yeah, just split the leagues in half like you do, but don't have to just do 1 through 15 on either side, top whatever. And that's what hockey used to do, right? Before they had the Metropolitan Division.
Yeah, but I do like the way they're doing it now. I like, because there's only 4 divisions.
I don't like it because it meant Boston didn't make the playoffs, but
Wah.
they would have been just fisted by Washington.
That's right.
Probably quicker than they probably would have bent over and took it quicker than
Nervurth
Philly.
wasn't there to steal a game for them.
Yeah, Philly fought and scratched back, but Boston would have just said, okay.
We'll take it.
Just get it over with. Sticking with Blue Jays, huge story. Return of the Mac. He isn't returning anymore. With Chris Colabello.
Yep.
Crazy.
How do we feel? Because I have thoughts.
Did he
Dave says meh.
like, I mean, it explains why he was so good last year, doesn't it?
I know. Now, I can't... I'm trying to just pull up his statement. I can't say I told you so about this.
Right. But you did say...
I can't. I want to troll through the audio.
Right.
But I've said about a lot of players and about the Blue Jays specifically, you don't suddenly get good at baseball.
Right.
In your 30s. It just doesn't happen. And that's why I'm very skeptical of Estrada. Not that I'm saying he's on drugs. I'm saying that last year for Marco Estrada might have been a fluke.
Right.
So for me, if you're a mediocre player and all of a sudden you're 30, 31, 32 and you suddenly get good at baseball, you're either on something or it's a fluke.
Right.
I've said about a lot of Blue Jays that it's a fluke.
Yep.
But Colabella was just that story that you just wanted to believe. That Tim Thomas, Scott Darling had nothing, were knocked down, crawled your way back, played in international leagues until someone finally noticed you and gave you a chance and you proved yourself. And he made me want to believe the statistical anomaly.
Right.
I don't know if I ever did.
Right. But you wanted to believe.
Yeah, and Dave said you just have to look at his numbers from last year. Like, if you go to court on the evidence of did this guy do drugs, you can just point to the numbers from last year.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. How did you guys feel? Were you sad?
I wasn't sad, no. I just, you know, it's disappointing. I don't like that he's like, oh, I don't know how that got there. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I'm trying to find his statement, and because I want to reread it, because I think I might have misinterpreted it of like, how'd that stuff get in there?
But that's what it sounded like.
I think it was a little bit... I think it was a little bit like, more I've been dreading this day and I never believed it would happen, and not necessarily... Like, he never said he didn't do it.
Right. Well, no, but he did say, I have too much respect for baseball and yada yada to do this.
On March 13th, I got one of the scariest and most definitely the least expected phone calls of my entire life. I was informed by the Players Association that a banned substance was found in my urine. I have spent every waking moment since that day trying to find an answer as to why or how. The only thing I know is that I would never compromise the integrity of the game of baseball. I love this game too much. I cared too deeply about it. I am saddened more for the impact this will have on my teammates, the organization, and the fans of the Toronto Blue Jays. I hope that before anyone passes judgment on me, they can take a look at the man that I am and everything that I have done to get to where I am in my career.
So, I mean...
It's not a no. Like, I would be screaming from the rooftops that I didn't do it.
Right.
Because I couldn't find it, but there was a story.
But he's gone through all. This is the problem. Like, and I love the way baseball does it, by the way, because he found out on March 13th. They did all the appeals and all the other stuff, and then when it's yes, you're guilty, and here's your suspension. That's when we find out. I love that, because then I do like that baseball does that. Right, because then there's no, like, dragging the guy's name through the mud, because if they find out, oh, he didn't really do it, then it never goes public, right? And that's the way it should be.
I wish I could find it, and maybe Dave will know. There was an NFL player, probably 10 or 15 years ago, who legitimately drank. Like, they were on it was a road game, and he was sharing a hotel room with a teammate, and drinks were in 2 separate NFL cups, and he grabbed his buddies that had stuff in it.
Damn.
And he drank it.
Yep.
And he he then spent years and years and years trying to clear his name, and was finally cleared, but not until he lost his career and his livelihood, and people assumed he was guilty. So, I mean, there's, for every million people that are caught with this, there's that one that's like, oh crap.
Yep.
But I don't think Colabella's that guy.
No.
You know, oh, close game alert. God damn it, 6-5 Toronto, what happened?
Right? And there's...
Who did this to you?
And there's runners on the corners with no one out for the White Sox.
Cecil fucking blew it.
Is it Cecil? Of course it is.
So
stupid glasses.
The bases were loaded. The Stroman walked a guy to load the bases. He came out. Cecil came in, and all of a sudden it was 5-4.
Oh.
It's the glasses, I'm telling you.
Okay, I need to announce something that Mark just texted me.
Yep.
Brian Elliott. So Mark and I are in a huge lawyer playoff pool, like the winner gets a couple grand kind of thing.
Nice.
Brian Elliott is 3rd in this pool.
Wow.
The Brian Elliott.
That's amazing.
Christopher Stieg is also in this pool, or at least his family is.
Yeah.
The Brian Elliott, who is currently playing
In the playoffs.
right now in the playoffs.
He knows how to pick them. He
is
plays.
third in this pool.
That's awesome.
I am not in third.
Obviously, are you in second then? You must be in second.
Absolutely. No, I'm quite far down, but I was for a while before I came back and won money. I have friends that are mutual friends with Brian Elliott, and they knew him really well when he was playing on the Senators.
Yeah.
And apparently everyone was on coke. Everybody. Ray Emery and Jason Spezza especially. Huge coke fiends. Anyways, that's hockey gossip. And also Brian Elliott is in fucking third place in this pool.
Awesome. Nothing like cocaine to bring the podcast down. All right.
Just the podcast to a screeching halt. So, other Blue Jays news, I wrote hashtag classic Dickey, but I don't know if there's anything more to say than he was the guy that chewed up innings. Yep. And he hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't gone beyond 5 innings or so. So was Hutchison a spot start, or was Hutchison a test to take over someone's position, like a Dickey?
I don't know. I know they're sending him back down.
I was going to say, they're sending him back down.
Okay, so it was legitimately a spot start.
Yeah.
Because he didn't do badly.
No.
He's going down tomorrow, I think they said.
Yeah.
Other Blue Jay question. Dave, are you still here? Okay. The ambidextrous pitcher.
Yeah.
Venditti. Does he need, and how much, extra time to warm up?
I don't know.
So I play a throwing sport. I'm sure you guys too, although I'm making not a throwing sport motion.
That's not a throwing motion at all.
I started it, and then
you need to.
I kind of sidearm it, so my warm up is a bit of a.
If you're listening to this podcast, I do recommend that you go to youtube.com/rabblepress and you look for Scotch Sporting episode number 62, and you go to roughly the 36.5-minute mark, and you will see a very good throwing motion.
This is legitimately my warm-up motion.
Maybe we might get kicked off of YouTube for this.
That's why I'm so good at the HJs. So, if you take 15 minutes to warm up, your right arm. If I am ambidextrous, do I take 30 minutes? Because I got to do the same with my left arm.
Probably. Depending.
Is it? I don't think it's double. Chris is dead. I
don't know if it's double, but it's more.
Yeah, I don't think it's double the time. I think it's maybe.
No, because then so you would normally take 15 minutes with this hand. So instead you take 10, and then you take 10.
Sexy stranger. Well, so
yeah, you gotta sit on your hand first for a few minutes.
It probably depends on who he's gonna be going up to face too.
Have I told the saddest hand job in the world story on this podcast? That'll maybe be for next time.
Let's save it for next time.
We'll save it for next time. When Dave's not here. So if you're 15 minutes to warm up and get game ready, is like 7 of that's your body, 8 of that's your arm. So then if you're ambidextrous, are you another 8 minutes, or are you another full 15 minutes?
No, you wouldn't be full 15. Another 8. Where are we going with this?
I just am curious. It was just a question.
I thought maybe there was like an answer coming, or...
No, there's no answer. This is just a way to talk about HJ.
Couldn't we just... Okay, perfect. Couldn't we just, I don't know, tweet him and ask him?
Yeah.
We should. My dad randomly listens to these, so I just really hope this isn't one he randomly picks.
Me too.
My dad's dealing with internet trolls for the first time.
Oh.
He he was an HR guy for 30 years. He has an HR company. He writes for the National Post. And this week's article was about women in the workforce and how they don't get equal pay.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the comments on the digital version of the site are like, they'd get equal pay if they got out of the desk and picked up a wrench. Or like they'd get equal pay if they did actual work.
Wow.
Yeah,
He's-
it's weird. You know what? This is not the right podcast for this.
I know. No, like I
But
don't
it's-
want to get
no,
political,
but
it's
it's weird how people get so like up in arms over these things.
I just think it's my 67-year-old father is dealing with
Yeah,
internet trolls for the first time.
that's not fair.
And he knew what a troll was.
Well,
And
that's
he used
good.
it correctly, which was adorable. So, NFL,
Yep.
speaking of trolls,
Oh
Johnny Manziel did the thing again.
God, he's got to
But,
stop
like,
doing the thing.
officially did the thing.
Like indicted.
Indicted for doing the thing.
Well, he hasn't been indicted yet.
He's being indicted.
He's going
It should be tomorrow, apparently.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the time you were listening to this podcast. So I think we can take this and move this from funny Johnny Manziel did the thing again.
It's
to,
not
like,
funny anymore. Yeah, it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
I know when it happened, we kind of decided it wasn't funny, but then he went partying with Josh Gordon and stuff, and it was like, that's funny.
Right, and
But, like,
$20,000 damage. That's funny.
You just talk about it anymore.
Mike who?
Frank Wilbon, pardon the interruption.
Oh, won't talk about it anymore. PTI.
Nice.
So like I think we gotta. So are you saying we're on the same level as PTI?
We're the same show.
Yes,
We're the exact
yes.
same show.
Yes, you are. Exact same show.
He's the guy. What's the guy that tells them when they get stuff wrong at the end? He's that guy.
Dave's that guy.
Yeah.
Dave, you're that guy on PTI that tells them what they did wrong.
Reality?
Yeah, that's it. Reality. I couldn't think of his name.
So yeah, I love saying Johnny Manziel did the thing again.
Right.
But maybe now I can switch it to Josh Gordon or someone else that's funny.
It's gonna have to be someone else because
we gotta move this.
it's absolutely awful.
Well,
Absolutely
we'll
awful.
move it to Brad Samford, who wants a trade out of Philly.
Brad Samford. I mean, it is interchangeable, really. So
Yeah. He's super handsome until you look at him up close, and then you realize he's very cross-eyed.
so I think this news had come up earlier that he was gonna ask for a trade.
Yeah, we weren't. I think the news that Philly had traded up to get the second-round draft pick.
Right. And he wasn't
it was-
happy.
Well, it's like they're obviously going to pick, because there's the two quarterbacks, right? Wentz, is it Wentz?
Yeah, and Goff.
Wentz and Goff, like, they're going to go 1-2. So clearly they're picking a quarterback. So Brad Sanford, Sam, whatever. Was
So
clearly
Ford Brad
come on.
Sam wants out.
Brad Sam Lugford was clearly like, well,
So
I'm out.
what I said to Tyler is that the Broncos should trade back Sanchez, and then we'll take Brad Samford.
Funny you should mention that. The Broncos have shown interest in.
Of course they
in
have.
Sam Bradford. So apparently,
he's not awful, is he?
No, but he's better than Sanchez.
Anyone's better than Sanchez. I'm better than Sanchez.
Butt fumble. Man, if the Broncos go into this season with Sanchez as their starting quarterback, like,
I don't know if I can watch.
how do you go from Peyton Manning? I know he wasn't Peyton Manning good this year.
No, but that's quite the extreme.
But you go from Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler
Yeah.
to fucking butt fumble Mick hot dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, has the Brock Osweiler trade? Is he gone?
Yeah. he's a
Yeah,
tech-
he signed with the Texans.
Oh, right. Well, Brian Hoyer, they released him.
Oh yeah.
So bald.
Cool, yeah. And throws a lot of interceptions. We're used to that.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
has to be better than like anyone. Like hold on, I'm sure
I
this
still-
fluff that I found on my carpet is better than
Like,
Mark Sanchez.
Fitzpatrick
This weird
still
crusty thing that's in my drink is better than Mark Sanchez.
the lead
Yeah,
paint
there's something crusty in my drink.
the lead paint in your drink is better than
It's lead paint. Guys, I'm getting lead poisoning.
but Fitzpatrick's still available.
Yeah.
And I think worst case scenario, you gotta go for him, right? You gotta go.
We're gonna talk about Tom Brady.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta.
Broncos
I mean,
can't go in with just Sanchez.
No, they can't. It's no.
No.
No, maybe the
What did we trade for Sanchez? What did we give up? Here we go. Take a
Oh,
drink,
God,
Tay.
I'm out of drinks.
I think like maybe a draft pick.
It wasn't a, like, high round draft pick, right? It was
No.
like... Okay.
I'll look.
Well, let's switch to Yelly of Tom Brady.
Yep.
Who's raise your hands if, and I understand this is an audio and visual podcast, so I will give a hand count. Raise your hand if he's actually going to serve this suspension.
Yes.
Wow, you think so?
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's gone through appeals, right?
I'm not raising my hand.
It's-
No, there's still one more level of court that they're
okay.
apparently 100% going to take it to.
Then
No,
he's not
right.
serving it.
They have apparently already made plans to file with the Supreme Court of Appeals, which is then the highest court of law.
And this is the U.S. Supreme Court we're talking about, right?
Yes, we are talking about the U.S. Supreme Court.
The
Okay,
same
so-
Supreme Court that decides whether, like abortion's legal and things like that, right?
Correct. They do not have better things to deal with, such as gay rights, abortions, Donald Trump being president.
Oh, they don't have to worry about Donald Trump being president. Don't worry about that.
Yes, Tyler.
So, if this goes to an appeal, again, which what you've said they're going to,
Yeah.
we might not even know the answer to this before the season starts.
Yeah. So he can play it out, I'm assuming, then,
He,
until...
he can play until there's an actual verdict. Yeah. So it's going to depend on when that hearing's going to be. Like, is that going to be the start of the playoffs?
You've heard the expression, yeah, you could be going forever. You've heard the expression, is this the hill you want to die on?
Yeah.
Well, and
So
this is the hill Goodell wants to die.
Goodell-
This is what Goodell has chosen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, cheating is cheating. If what they accuse Tom Brady of happened, which I do believe it does, I don't think he physically deflated those balls, as we've discussed, but I think he knew.
Yeah.
He cheated. He cheated.
Sure.
But there are so many other guys.
But is it worth a quarter of the season? For something that didn't even actually help at all? Like, they were already winning that game. Like, let's be honest. I mean, yes, it's cheating, and yes, it doesn't matter. But is it a quarter of the season?
I think it's so. I think that game will always have that question mark beside it. If they had lost, obviously, but they won that game, so there's always going to be that little bit of. But
Balls got changed at halftime, and they scored more fucking points.
That's right.
yeah,
It
now I
didn't fucking
think
matter.
I think a quarter of the season, if you cheated and affected the outcome of the game, is an apt punishment. But on a scale of punching your girlfriend on a couch full of assault rifles versus deflating a little bit of air from footballs, I think you've set precedent.
I mean, does punching your girlfriend affect the outcome of a football game?
No,
I mean,
but you're a horrible human being.
that's absolutely the case, but I mean,
Yeah,
is it up to the league to be the morality police?
Yeah, I think there's a code of conduct with that.
I believe it's in.
Okay, so if they have if the players have a code of conduct that they sign, then I'm sure that there is a clause about, hey, if you beat your girlfriend, you get this many games. I'm sure it's in there. I'm sure that that's part of it.
How many games was Adrian Peterson?
2.
2?
15.
And then
Oh.
did he overturn it? Oh, he was out for the year, right?
It was an indefinite suspension.
That's right. That's right. And yeah,
Weird kind of loophole in the NFL's rule books where they could suspend them indefinitely until some kind of hearing happens.
I don't know if
Okay.
you heard that.
yeah, I got it.
So, if you look at it in 4 games as a quarter of the season,
Hmm.
cheating at the game is a quarter of smoking pot. It's a quarter of hitting your kid with a switch.
Right.
It's equal to punching your girlfriend on a couch full of assault rifles.
Well,
Yep.
it's only the third time getting caught.
I guess. Oh, yeah, the super funny thing on Facebook, someone posted, I wish I loved anything as much as Josh Gordon clearly loves pot.
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just have their punishment system. Well, it's just like Jose Reyes was
So-
just...
Hold on, I just want to... Tyler just posted in our chat the entirety of the 2011-2020 NFL collective bargaining agreement. It's only 316 pages.
That's gonna be solid bedtime reading.
Yeah, I say.
If you want to know what's going on, if there's actually something in there, here's the CBA.
I say we get Mark on this because he loves this kind of stuff, right? He likes doing research.
Always.
Yeah, Mark's gonna read the entire CBA.
He might actually enjoy it.
Well, speaking of Mark, one more thing before we sign off this lovely podcast. I had Tyler do Mark's research, so I assume it's going to be...
Hey, he's got paper.
He has paper.
And paper and numbers for the last 16 years.
Nice.
Okay, my question for the last 16 years. Wow,
Back to 2000.
Major credit there.
For the whole century.
Entire collective bargaining agreement. So, my question, in what sport does home field advantage matter the most versus the least? So I understand, I'm sure we can name what those will be. I'm sure it's football, baseball, hockey, and basketball being interchangeable. Because football, the air in the stadiums, indoor or outdoor changes, people used to playing in the cold changes, blah, 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 Colorado, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Baseball, I'm sure we've ranted about this before, for a game based so highly on measurements is like, fuck it when it comes to dimensions of their stadiums.
It's so weird.
So that...
You get last ups.
Sorry?
You're the home team, you get last in plans.
No, yeah, that aside, but like home field advantage, you have a different field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's different dimensions to the field. But basketball and hockey, the stadium doesn't really change. There are different things, like in hockey, Chris said the home team gets the last change.
Yeah.
In baseball, you get last up, like you get the bottom in the beginning, which is great.
Does NBA, do they get any advantage being the home team?
No, because the tip-off starts the game.
Right.
And whoever wins the tip-off in the first half, the other team gets it in the second half.
Yeah.
So there's no real advantage.
Okay.
So what are your findings, Tyler?
So for the past, since 2000 to 2016, all but baseball, basketball, and hockey, I didn't do this year because we're in the playoffs for this year, and I just did the playoffs.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Oh yeah, because the playoffs is winning.
I did find an article online from 2011 that shows the last. So in the last 3 seasons in 2011, so obviously 10, 9, and 8, they did all of the games, and it's extra.
So you're saying you had help on your homework?
No, I just want to tell you this piece of information.
No, Katie didn't do his homework for him.
Extra percentage of games teams could have won had they played all their games at home.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the NBA is at the top with 10%. So NBA basketball teams would have won 10% more games if they had played them at home.
Huh.
The NFL 6,
Yeah.
MLB 5, and so is the NHL.
Huh.
I'm so surprised at that.
So
I thought basketball mattered the least.
right?
Wow.
So I went and did the playoffs and went through the last 15, 16 years. The NFL, if you play at home in the playoffs, you have a 64% chance of winning.
That seems absolutely right.
As you do for the NBA.
Huh.
Wow.
Also have a 64% chance of winning at home.
That's crazy.
And then we've got the MLB and the NHL with 57 and 56%.
Wow.
MLB at 57, NHL at 56?
Yes.
Wow.
And
Basketball over baseball.
In the NHL back in 2010 was not a good year for home. It was 48%.
Wow.
And there was a couple others. MLB was crazy to figure out because nobody had to go through the World Series, Championship Series, and then that was a pain in the ass.
That sucks.
Well, so what? Jesus. Well, so now we have to figure out
So what?
Wow.
I know this might take me a little while, but I want to go through each team
Right.
and figure out where it's best to play at home.
Ooh. It's the Broncos have to be at the top of that list.
Oh, God bless you and your tenacity, Tyler.
And
I love
this,
it.
so on this article from 2011, I found they've done kind of a scatter graph of the United States of where it's good to play at home. So Toronto is minus 72.
Of course it is. The worst sports city in North America.
Minneapolis and St. Paul, so Minnesota, basically, is plus 162.
I was
Holy
going to say
shit.
Minnesota because I remember like the games that they played that were super cold
Yeah.
this year that it was like, well, the Vikings
Yeah.
have an advantage because they're used to playing in this shitty weather.
San Fran is 192.
Jesus.
Seattle is 153. Like, freaking nuts. So
Is Minnesota the highest then?
San Fran is the
San
highest,
Fran.
192.
Wow.
Yeah,
Because
They
it's
got-
so nice.
They got a lot of sports there, right? So
yeah.
'cause
And
that's the Niners. What is that counting? Is that counting the Niners? Is it counting the Sharks too? Because San Jose is close to San Francisco.
anybody who plays in San Fran.
Okay. I don't know if they
So it
count
might.
San Jose.
So, but that's what I want to do. I want to go through each team and find out who's got the best home ice, fields, whatever advantage.
Right.
It's gonna
Wow.
take a fuck ton of a long time,
Well, you have a week.
but it's.
Can
You
I-
have until next Monday.
Can I propose the next one after this? Because I have something that I've wanted to have figured out.
Yep.
And it is championships based on the color of your team. So championships based on blue, championships based on red. I want to know which color is most likely to win a championship.
All right.
Done.
Yeah. All right.
Done.
So
Done. I love it.
yeah,
I'm so shocked about basketball.
that I
So-
am too. I would have never guessed that.
That
Is-
was my dead last.
Is
That
the
was
crowd
no.
is the crowd that
It has
important?
to be the crowd
Right?
It has to be.
because it's all indoors. The courts are the same dimensions. It has to be the crowd. Wow.
Or
wow.
but it could also be that okay, it could also be this. The better teams play more home games, right? So the better teams in basketball are that much better than the worst teams. There's not a lot of parity in basketball.
I gotta do side research on this.
There were some years where in basketball there were some years where the teams would and some series would only the home team won.
Right.
And then there were others on the complete opposite side of that where like two home teams won and the other 5 games the away team won.
Huh.
So it kind of balanced out, but it's wild.
Wow. Very, very wild. That's shocking. Well, on that absolutely shocking note,
Bombshell.
bombshell, and I just got a pop up that bullpen blunders the lead in Blue Jays game.
Yep.
On that bombshell, let us say goodnight. Thank you for listening to this week's Scotch Sporting. Bye, Mark Bud.
Bye-bye.
We love
Yeah,
you.